Hello, welcome back to Mullen Lave Wargaming. This is War in the Pacific, Admiral's Edition, play-by-email campaign in Scenario 1, playing as Japan. I'm now doing the setup for the December 23rd, 1941 turn. So where we left off, we had some major activity off the coast of Australia, including a possible sighting of an enemy carrier, and we had a number of aircraft squadrons that were transferred to Cairns, Australia, which then attacked Carrier Division 1 with essentially no success. They basically just lost a bunch of fighters for their trouble, a few bombers. The Dauntlesses mostly got away with it. So that's going to be pretty significant when we get over to that part of the map. We also had a pretty big turn in China with several enemy army units that were hanging out in the open being defeated, and we had what might turn out to be a major victory in the Philippines with the enemy attacking just as a tank regiment arrived to reinforce my kind of beleaguered troops, and at the same time the enemy was getting bombed rather severely by medium and light bombers. So we were basically able to hold on and cause disproportionate enemy casualties, and we're now in a position to capitalize that in the days to come. I expect this is going to be a pretty big turn, so let's get into it. I'm actually going to skip China today, in part because of how busy China was yesterday in quotes, the 22nd. I'm just not expecting too much to happen there. It's mostly just units moving around. But turning to Burma, one of the implications of our torpedo bombers flying with torpedoes armed out of Kuching is that it means we can start moving air HQs. This base here is going to be able to send torpedo bombers like all the way down as far as Talatjap, and certainly like Singapore and South China Sea, the majority of the Java Sea. That's all covered. So there's no longer any need for the air HQ at Kota Bharu. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's not critical. Meanwhile, we'd really like to just shut Rangoon down, since at least one convoy of reinforcements has arrived there, and there could be more arriving soon. So I've dispatched some amphibious ships to Kota Bharu. They're going to pick up that HQ and ship it back. It really would be nice if we could just rail them out, but we haven't defeated this enemy unit here sitting on the rail yet, so that's not happening. Speaking of Burma, or Bangkok in particular, we've almost finished unloading all these guys that seemingly arrived simultaneously. I split off 2 ships from the task force that was delivering the 2nd Division, because these are the only ones that still have troops aboard. So basically, every ship that still has troops aboard that's over here at Bangkok is now docked. So everyone's going to be unloaded soon. We do have 1 full division, that would be the 21st Division. They're fully offloaded, so they are just about to rail down to Singora. And hopefully we'll be able to open these up soon. Imperial Guards Division is about halfway to the space adjacent to Singora, and we're also starting to close in on this guy between Singora and Patani. Moving down, we'll be able to attack here. I've got an armored regiment assigned to reserve pursuit, so hopefully we'll get that moving. Attacking in Temalu. Basically, these front lines for the enemy are collapsing right now. I'm going to hold off on giving up on Mersing for at least another turn. I want to see what the enemy fighter situation is going to turn out to be after a little bit more pressure over Singapore. Noted at the end of last turn, we're officially reading 0 fighters thanks to recon over here. That shouldn't be right, but we don't know where else they'd be coming from. I'm letting my recon units kind of roam freely for a while. We'll see if they come up with anything on their own. Meanwhile, so I did notice, and I bet this is because of the mulligan, because when we did the mulligan, that was right about the same time I was starting my air campaign against Singapore. And as you might remember, I restricted my range a little bit at first when we saw there were a ton of fighters at Singapore, because I didn't want Nels and Bettys flying to Singapore trying to blow up, little ships like HDMLs or something like that, only to get cap-trapped. I'm not all that worried about that anymore. Yes, the enemy does have a significant fighter presence, but most of the time my escorts seem to be flying. We've got sweeps that are getting in there, and it seems very likely that the combined ABDA task force and other major task forces are hanging out at Singapore. So I wouldn't mind catching those guys. So that restriction's come off. In addition, thanks to the torpedo bombers being able to arm torpedoes at Kuching, one major Nell squadron's been moved down here to supplement the 2 detachments that were already here, along with a detachment of Zeros to act as their escorts. That, more than anything else, is why I think this is going to be a pretty busy turn. We've got task forces sighted all the way around here, from over here off the coast of Sinkoang, over to Palembang, Batavia, to Latjap. Like, all these guys are in range. So yeah, we've got over 30 bombers ready to go out and start hitting these guys, and the Zeros are there and available, and they've got the range to make it to some of these bases that are likely to be defended by aircraft. All of these likely defended by Dutch Air Force fighters, and who knows, maybe some other nationality fighters too, because the AVG's in Singapore, so we're not necessarily keeping everyone on their own territory. Moving out a little east, I noticed that there's significant damage to facilities at Miri, also a little bit of damage to the oil facilities here at Brunei. I'm going to be shipping some supplies here so that we can repair the oil facilities. For now, I have turned off repairing the refinery. That's just because I really don't care if the oil gets refined here at Miri or in Japan, just as long as I get it eventually. So, yeah, right now that just doesn't seem like a good use of resources. Carrier Division 2 is making their way towards the Seram Sea in preparation of assisting a move on Ambon, as well as potentially a raid on Darwin, and maybe even ambushing U.S. carriers, assuming they've headed towards the Arafura Sea. We'll get back to that. The Baby KB is right behind them. They actually took the last of Babel Doab's fuel, which is a little sad because a bunch of tankers actually just offloaded into Babel. So I've got 2 more tanker convoys on the way now to try to keep them topped off. The second task force that's going to be picking up troops to go to Ambon has finished loading, so they're going to rendezvous with the task force that's already there, and we'll be moving out probably tomorrow. Because the covering force is already in place. Carrier Division 2 will be in position to make that move with them. So yeah, that's green lighted at this point. So, moving down to Australia. So the sighting report at Horn Island is kind of suspicious. A lot of the times we get false reports that come up, and usually the normal way to tell the false reports from the true ones is the true ones just end up with something being put on the map. Now, that said, I don't know the game well enough to say absolutely positively for sure that every contact report that shows up in either the ops report or the combat events log is a false contact if it doesn't appear on the map. And there's one other really interesting fact, and that's the delivery of fighter aircraft to Cairns. The ranges of the Buffalo is pretty short. So the Navy's F-2A version of the Buffalo, that was about 30. But the version of the Wildcat that's here, F4F A3, I think it was, that only has a range of 15. And all indications right now are that those aircraft were delivered last turn. And for the enemy carriers to have delivered their aircraft to like another land base during a prior turn, such that they just flew here from a land base this turn, that's possible. But removing fighters from a carrier battle group is kind of crazy. It's a bit risky. And you would only do it if the carriers were relatively safe. And I would say that 2 turns ago, the enemy carriers weren't all that safe, but maybe they felt safe at the beginning of this turn. So, I should say, felt safe last turn, hence why they attacked last turn. So I think the enemy carriers started last turn within 15 hexes of Cairns. Most likely, that puts them in the Gulf of Carpentera. So it's like 20 out over here. Oh, we'll use Groot. So Groot, Atlantis 15. So that's exactly the minimum range for the variant of the F4F that flew on down to there. Also see here Milwaukee, that's 16, so that's 1 hex out of range. So it's entirely possible that the enemy carriers have been hanging out in or near the vicinity of Horn Island, and because we're flying around down here, we didn't spot them just yet. This area is under surveillance, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to detect the enemy carriers every turn that they're here, because it's weather dependent. And it's also time dependent. We have, I believe, AM sweeps here in the blue, and then PM sweeps here in the green. So we just might have searched these bands, but there was nobody there when we searched it. So it's reasonable that he's here. I guess that's all I'm going to say about that for now. That said, short of a confirmed sighting, I'm not going to go rushing up there without any sort of confirmation, especially since we're already in contact with enemy fleets here. I doubt this report of battleships is accurate, but I mean, the classifications usually aren't that far off. I mean, these could be heavy cruisers in port. So we need to keep hitting the targets that we know we have. Meanwhile, that was kind of a close call with all those aircraft hitting. And we could end up with more land-based bombers wearing our cap down. So basically, I don't want to look to get into a major fight just this turn. I don't mind continuing to fight the enemy aircraft at Cairns. And with that in mind, I've assigned the Kates to bomb the airfield and the Vals to bomb the port. So hopefully we'll be working over these guys here. And of course, if they put to sea, they'll just be attacked with naval attacks. Carrier Division 3 is going to come up and rendezvous with these guys. My intention is to reform the Kido Butai with at least 2 carrier divisions. So hopefully we'll be looking at a 4-on-2 or a 4-on-3 if the Saratoga shows up. I intend to refuel Carrier Division 3 for the time being, especially with enemy carrier-capable fighters flying from land bases across the coast. I don't want my replenishment task force to leave the vicinity of Carrier Division 1, so like I don't want them getting picked off while they're between carriers. So Carrier Division 3 is just going to meet up with Division 1. We'll get everybody tanked up. And obviously, if it doesn't go without saying, yes, Carrier Division 1 fueled up with the replenishment task force present now. One other quick thing. Where was it? Up here by Wake. I was a little surprised to see this. Ships moving east, allegedly minesweepers. Kind of odd place to see enemy ships, and I'm not even sure how we spotted them since they're kind of outside my search area. Maybe this is one of those radio intercepts. There's not a whole lot we have in position to catch these guys. So I've detached a single destroyer over here from the Tayo. And all the Tayo's really doing right now is grabbing quad squadrons, taking them back to Japan to upgrade them to zeros, and then transporting them back. So it's on its way to, I think, we'll just look, Maloloyep, however we pronounce that. So it's picking up a detachment in the Marshalls. So I've detached a destroyer. I'll send the destroyer after the minesweepers. Hopefully it doesn't turn out that they're actually destroyers. And also from Kwajalein, I reformed the Merchant Raider task force, these two AMCs, and I'm sending them up there. So hopefully between these two task forces, we'll get a shot at them. Not a very high priority, obviously. It's just two small ships, it looks like. Mostly quiet around Rabaul and the Solomons. Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, one thing I didn't do when I set this up was see if I could send anybody else down there. And, you know, maybe it's time to get the 4th Division involved. So, for this turn, before I close it out, I'm either going to load these guys up into ships, assuming I have enough here, or I'll start sending amphibious ships over here. But yeah, I intended them for Port Moresby, and they may well still get there, but clearly we need a little bit more effort to take Rabaul, because the enemy is actually putting up a bit of a fight for it. So with that, and after I check this torpedo ordnance, I'm going to end it there, so we'll see you in the combat replay. Have a good one. Alright, combat replay for December 23rd, 1941 is now underway. Let's get some airstrikes. Pretty routine unloading. Some more of that. Alright, so not much going on overnight. Looks like our minesweepers are getting to work in Hong Kong, so happy to see that. Submarine's been detected outside Surabaya. That's a little concerning. I would rather not have these guys getting attacked. I don't know. I might back them off a little bit. Something to think about. Another sub getting attacked. This one outside Pearl Harbor. Just took a couple of damaging near misses there. I don't expect that's going to be serious damage at all. It's probably an ASW group, so that might be a sign that maybe I got a little too close. Alright, now it's my turn. And we're going to get an attack in shallow water. That's good news. And we get a solid hit. A couple more of those and this guy will sink. Get after him. He already slipped away. Really like to sink some of these subs with something other than an airstrike. Now that's frustrating. This guy's got nobody defending him. You know, at least we took the shot. Like, misses happen, but why are we not attacking on the surface and using our guns? Alright, got some light cruisers bombarding Batangas, hoping to catch some of these enemy ships that are still here. We do not hit anything. Oh, perhaps it's already cleared out. Alright, another amphibious landing at Kuantan. Basically just starting to grab some of these bases that haven't captured yet with smaller units. Alright, that's a good sign. We just got a reaction near Wake, which suggests to me that we are going to be able to catch that group of minesweepers that we think we detected last turn. Alright, getting rid of the mines at Hong Kong. They're going down pretty fast. And the numbers are starting to decrease, going from the 30s to the single digits. That might actually mean that we're almost done. Alright, so here's the minesweeper that we saw near Wake. If memory serves, the Penguin was the minesweeper that was getting bombed by float planes off Guam, so that explains why he's here. Alright, another chance to get an enemy sub in shallow water, and another opportunity goes by the wayside. Alright, so that's interesting. Possible tenders over there on the south side of Borneo. It's a nice target. The enemy's decided to defend Clark again, including with P-38s. I think this is the first time we've seen them in the war. Very good high-altitude fighter for sweeps. I wouldn't normally use P-38s for cap, although one just managed to shoot down a 0, so what do I know? Now that they outnumber us, it looks like maybe they might be able to interfere with our bombers when they arrive. So I think that was 3-2 in our favor, so pretty even. Alright, a little bit of a follow-up here. Alright, so probably 4-2 is what we're looking at over Clark. no escorts for this raid over Manila, but looks like we're getting away with it. And of course we don't hit anything. Thunderstorms, of course. We can never get the weather we need to really hit these guys. Great, we hit an AKL. Hooray. Alright, so this is kind of interesting. They're using P-39s as attack aircraft here, trying to attack our troops. We have plenty of aircraft that are able to respond. More than I would have expected, but I guess that's what I get if the escorts don't want to accompany the bombers to Manila. And they get through. We didn't shoot anyone down. That's disappointing with numbers like that. And they didn't do any real damage either. Alright, so attack on an airfield at Cairns. We're hoping to catch the relocated carrier air wings. We did see some aircraft damage reported early in this strike, but none since that initial volley. Well, at least we're damaging the airbase pretty badly. We're a ways, just 5. Well, 5 instances of damage, I'm fond of saying. So that's pretty significant damage to the airbase, so that's good, but by the looks of things, the carrier air wing has moved out. A little disappointed that we only saw the Kates attacking. They were assigned to the airbase. There's also plenty of ships in port there, including 2 that were classified as battleships, probably incorrectly. The Vals are assigned to bomb the port, but they didn't do that. I'd really like to get that port attack to happen. Anyways, back in Luzon, at Kuantan, we've bombed this enemy unit again, causing heavy casualties in spite of the bad weather in the area, including 12 combat squads disabled or destroyed. So once again, we're keeping this enemy unit off balance enough so that they're not going to be able to hurt us very badly. Basically a failed attack at Manila's airbase. It's still stormy there, interfering with our raids. These guys are just trying to lock the tank unit in place here. Do destroy 2 enemy vehicles. That's better than just knocking them out of move mode. Got a little close air support going on here, trying to weaken this unit so we can defeat them in the land battle later today. Didn't do a whole lot, we just disabled a pair of squads. It's just a target of opportunity in the open. Accomplished basically nothing. No damage here with these little 30-kilogram bombs. That's not bad. Should be engaging that group pretty soon. Right, another strike on Kuantan. And these guys are really taking a pounding, as you can tell from all the smoke and fires. Another 231 casualties with 21 combat squads disabled or destroyed. I'm starting to think not attacking them from land this turn was a mistake. This unit is combat ineffective. Another unit that's been badly damaged by airstrikes and possibly also from losing ground battles. Ooh, attacking us with Hudsons now. I think Nates can handle 2 of them. Or chase them off. Good enough for me. Have I mentioned I hate B-17s? Got away light with one squad disabled. Oh, and of course there's more. One squad destroyed, one squad disabled. Thanks. Alright, P-39s are back. Got a decent cap again. Hopefully we can shoot down a decent number of these guys. Damn it. Come on, guys. Well, at least we chased some of them away. And they mostly get through. So we got bombed by 19 aircraft, enough to disable a support squad, and we lost one Oscar in the process. Disappointed we did not shoot any of those guys down. I think the weather is really messing with our operations in Luzon today. I have no idea who's sinking right now. Just know it's not ours. There we go. Reported a hit on a submarine out by Babel Doab. Our carriers just got spotted, I think. Audio alert means they detected a battleship. Our air raid on Rabaul is only disabling non-combat squads. And who is this? Enemy ships east of Rabaul around the Gilberts. I have no idea who that is. Some low priority targets being taken care of here. These are Hong Kong escapees. Yeah, at least we spread the hits around. Not bad. I'll take it. That's not bad either. 8 planes disabling 6 enemy squads. Alright, no escorting fighters here for this raid on Kuantan. Our cap's a little on the light side, but we should have enough to stop most of these guys. Alright, get rid of a Hudson. The Oscar 1As are pretty poor bomber interceptors. Actually, they all are. Wow. So yeah, this is a fairly crowded airbase, and we're suffering for it, as most of those bombers end up getting through despite having a substantial cap, including 18 Zeros available. It sure didn't look like 18 Zeros got into that fight. But yeah, that's... You can probably safely double these numbers. So that was a pretty successful strike for the enemy. So hopefully now that there's a second one coming in, the first one stirred up our fighters and they're ready for it. So maybe we'll get all these guys. Better so far. We still need to get more planes into the fight. Damn it. 9 plenums get through, and there's more fighters being destroyed on the ground. Well, we're getting a chance at revenge. We're chasing them out of the combat area. Not bad. I'd rather shoot them down before, but at least we can prevent them from doing this again. Nice. Yeah. Well, looks like none of these guys made it back home. Between those two raids, I counted 1 Hudson and 11 Blenheim shot down. So they paid for it. I'm not happy to lose. God, I mean, between both of these raids, I might have lost something like 8 aircraft, probably. Again, keeping in mind that we can probably double those. And I don't have that many Oscars, or at least I don't have many in the pool. I'm building 1 Charlie Oscars as fast as I can. Oh, what the hell. Alright, so yesterday my Nells were able to carry torpedoes. These guys are just carrying bombs. Why? I don't know, I guess I could check the settings and maybe I accidentally assign these guys to bombs? Yeah, I mean, bombing from 20,000 feet against ships, they're not going to hit anything. That was a complete waste. Okay, so these guys are doing a torpedo attack. In this case, when attacking from ahead or astern basically means the enemy ships outmaneuvered them. Isn't that interesting? Carrier support unable to supply air cover. Which carrier is hanging out here? Does that mean the Hermes is around? Interesting. Uh-oh. Well, Rebel's guns are starting to fight back, and we're taking some hits. Armor penetrating hits, and hits that are disabling some of our guns, and or torpedo mounts, I think I saw. Well, at least the... oh no, that's us. So, some casualties bringing our troops ashore. We still have contact on this guy. Well, no heavy damage on either of the light cruisers that got hit. So I guess that's good, but they're clearly going to need some repairs. Boo. 2 combat squads destroyed on the landing. On to land combat. Lucy War Area, so that's an HQ unit behind our lines, and they surrender. Good riddance. We've got a weakened core up in the northern area. Only get 1-to-1 odds on him. He's probably got a pretty decent terrain bonus. Yeah, you can see the plus there. That said, the casualties are very disproportionate in our favor. We only had 3 squads disabled. Their combat squads are 45 disabled and 4 destroyed. So these guys are going to be much weaker come tomorrow. I've got Temelo looking like it's pretty overwhelmed. We have 8-to-1 odds. 8 to 1 odds, but we really don't get much here. Yeah, wow. We did not get the better of that. I guess I need to bomb him more. Alright, Jesselton, essentially no resistance. Get a retreat there. Breaking Princesa, no resistance. They surrender. These numbers are starting to look better here at Rebel. But we're still taking a pounding from these bombardment attacks, including a destroyed gun. Alright, let's get into the post-turn analysis. This was a little bit less significant than I thought it was going to be, and the major cause of that was our Nels here did fly a mission, but didn't hit anything, and just checking the settings, and they are indeed set to torpedoes, so I don't know what the deal was there. Check the Air HQ. They've got 82 torpedoes in inventory, so yeah, I don't know what's going on there. We could do it last turn, but we can't do it this turn. And one more thing I want to check before I go back to the numbers. So an APD, yeah, I don't know why they would have these here. Maybe just somebody trying to escape. Don't know. And once again, like, this is in an area where we should be able to get airstrikes. Yeah, we've got 27 Nels here, ready to go, and they sat on the ground despite having a target. Let me just confirm their orders really quick. Yeah, naval attack orders. Anyways, let's look at some of the losses and figures for the turn. Alright, starting with the point totals. We had a relatively small gain today. We sunk a bunch of ships, but they weren't really all that valuable. Plus, air losses were a little bit more even. So let's jump down to that. So I have the set with both. Let's switch it over to just the allies for now. So we could see pretty significant losses for the enemy bomber forces. 13 bombers lost, thanks to that raid on our base at, what was it, Kuantan, I think. Decent fighter losses, although we could have done a lot better. Yeah, just 6 fighters down. So not too much to talk about there. And then as for us, obviously the big news are these ground losses. So 7 Oscars and a Nate lost on the ground. I don't care that much about losing the 1 Alphas. They're barely better than Nates. The Bravos and Charlies are quite useful. And I really just can't build the Charlies fast enough, unfortunately. Let's look at the production real quick, since I'm talking about it already. Yeah, so I've got 8 replacement aircraft in the pool right now, and I'm basically building 3 new airplanes per day. So that number is increasing. I have... let's see here. 18 repair means there are 18 factories that have been ordered, but are not yet online and producing. Each factory unit, whatever we want to call it, produces 1 aircraft a month. So I'm at 82 now, so 18 more will put me at 100. A 100 aircraft per month. Ship loss is fairly insignificant for the 23rd. We got these cargo ships near Hong Kong, and the minesweeper near Wake. S-37 sunk? No, we didn't. We hit him. He's hurt. Might end up in Singapore for repairs. I wouldn't put him in Singapore for repairs. I'd send him back to Surabaya. But that's me. But we didn't sink him. So I think that's good for Tracker. We'll head back to the main game. Alright, starting in China, we had a relatively quiet turn. Looks like things might be ready to pick up a little bit. We got the better of this unit in a straight-up fight. Weren't able to overrun him. He does have a defensive bonus. Desert Rough, I think that's a 2. Desert Rough, yeah, defense value 2. So not a huge defensive bonus, but still something to contend with. We're still closing in on this guy over here. We've got more forces headed into the battle zone from Pao Tao. We finally caught this guy that we've been bombing. Just a single unit, and I have a division, so that'll be an attack. Haven't caught this guy again yet. We've defeated him at least once. In contact with an enemy unit here. Strength isn't clear. May poke around some reports to see if I can find out who that was. Chances are somebody this far behind enemy lines has already been defeated a couple times, so I can probably attack him without too much trouble. Still waiting to come into contact with the enemy here, and this is interesting. We have 4 enemy units making a play on Wuchang, and I only have a single division defending. So that may call for reinforcements. How much can I send from here? So I've basically got 200 AV free. So I could give them a little bit of help. Definitely gonna call for some airstrikes to help deal with that. Yeah, that counteroffensive kind of came out of nowhere on me. Got caught off guard by that. I'm surprised he's keeping these guys here if he's making a move on Wuchang. Well, whatever. I really doubt he's going to be able to take it and hold it. What are the fort levels here? Oh, level 4 fortifications. That's, yeah, even with just 1 division there, that's going to be a tough nut to crack. And I've basically got 400 AV I could probably move in. 200 from Hankow and 200 from the road right outside, plus air support. I've also caught this unit. I'm pretty sure this group that's already been defeated, perhaps from Chusin. And once these guys are taken care of, we'll make our move on Wenchao. Looks like we lost sight on whoever was here. I'm not sure why. And we've got still quite a few enemy ships over here ready to kill. And I've got a task force that's right outside ready to do some of that killing. Though maybe they're, since it's such a small task force, they're a little intimidated. I mean, they're just cargo ships, guys. Come on. We have additional contacts in Rangoon. 4 cargo ships is probably a supply run. I have a task force in position to relocate the air HQ. Although the lack of torpedoes on the strike over here makes me wonder if that's a good idea yet. Maybe I should wait a little bit longer. I really want to cut off Rangoon, though. Something we'll have to think about. Meanwhile, 16 fighters reported in Singapore. 14 fighters reported in Johore Bahru. These numbers are finally starting to make sense. Lots of transports in Palembang. I wonder if that means they're being reinforced. Definitely something to keep in mind. I do not want Palembang to get all that strong. Strong surface forces here at Batavia. That's interesting. Single ship sighted here, and we got a report that there was an AD, a destroyer tender there earlier. These enemy submarines I thought were moving off. Apparently not. They're still sticking around. We did get one hit reported on them this turn, so they may not be as strong as they used to be. Meanwhile, we're still seeing rather weak forces at Ambon, and although we've been detected, our task forces are ready to move in down there. So we got half of the airstrike we wanted. We did some damage to the enemy airbase here. Did not catch the carrier air wing. Meanwhile, there's still all these ships, and we're still reporting them to be battleships, which, wow, I just doubt that so much. And this is the wrong place to put these subs in, by the way, because they can't move across that reef. I might just put the submarine in the port hex. I mean, if all the ships are sheltering in port anyways, and I don't believe a level 2 port is big enough to keep a submarine out of it, so the sub may be able to attack ships in the harbor. Carrier Division 3 made it all the way here, so I'll be able to reform these guys into, well, I guess the Kido Butai, we can call it, even if there's still one division missing. This guy we had detached to hunt the Queen Elizabeth, so it's meeting back up with the task force. Make sure he's on mission speed and not flank speed. And of course the replenishment group is here too, which means Carrier Division 3 can refuel as it recombines itself with Division 1. Still no direct sign of enemy carriers. Did both of my carrier divisions get detected? Yes. Okay, so he probably knows that I moved Carrier Division 3 up here then, which probably also means that if his carriers were over here in the Arafura Sea, they're probably moving away now that he sees that I haven't left. So it's probably time to start closing in a little bit. So it's not like Carrier Division 2 is going to make it all the way to Darwin in a single turn. Not that I want to, because I want to cover Ambon anyways. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to take Carrier Division 2 and the mini KB and move them into the Banda C in support of the Ambon operation, and they're going to stand by to hit Darwin next. While that's going on, I'm going to continue to hit Cairns, but I'm also going to have, I think, one squadron that's going to hit Normanton, just because I think this would be kind of an interesting place to disband a carrier unit that might be kind of unexpected. Like, the search planes typically don't detect units in port, so if you disband a task force into any, coastal base hex, they might only be detected with a recon flight instead of with a naval search. So here, along with these dot bases, might be places I want to hit along the way. Heck, it might even be worth sending a recon to Horn Island in case they're still hanging out there. I think this guy could do that, right? Naval search, fatigue isn't bad. There, let's see what that does. Oh, and then we had that one contact out here in the Gilberts. What was that all about? There he is. Yeah, well, we already talked about him at the beginning, so not much to do with this guy. I guess we're just gonna continue to hope for a regular airstrike with him. I mean, heck, if they're really small ships, I could even set these clods to maybe do a strafing attack. I don't have zeros here yet, I'm still working on that. So, I'm going to end it there. We'll do the setup, and I'll let you know what I decide for this stuff. Thanks for watching.